My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching in real estate. And the purpose of today's video is to give you the market update for what's going on in Eagle River, Alaska. This happens to be the area that I personally live in, so it's something I'm pretty well versed in. So definitely some big things that I really saw from this month's update on what's going on in Eagle River. So we'll go ahead and jump into that in just a minute. Before we do get started though, do make sure you give this video a like. It does help other people to find it, and subscribe so you can receive more information like this in the future. And also, if you really want to see these charts and really break them down a little bit yourself, do make sure you follow the link to my LinkedIn page down below, and I'll have an article that I post on there. Usually Thursday, sometimes Wednesday morning, afternoon if I have some time, but for sure on Thursday, so you can kind of dissect it yourself, and that's going to be put into an article that I'll be publishing on LinkedIn. So without further ado though, let's go and jump into today's market update for what's going on in Eagle River, Alaska. The first thing we need to look at is what's going on in the residential market. And in the residential market, we're seeing that the inventory is seeing a pretty sizable cut from where it was before. This time last year, November, the month that we have the most recent full information about, shows that there were 81 homes that are on the market. This year, what we're seeing is there are 54 homes that are on the market. So we're seeing a cut in inventory right off the bat. The second thing that we're seeing is, even with that huge cutback in the inventory, we're still seeing that the number of properties that have actually sold in Eagle River has maintained about the same, because there were 52 homes that sold this time last year in the month of November, and what we're seeing is this year they're 54. So maintaining just about the same, or even going up just a little bit. Next, what we're seeing is the average sold price definitely went up. This time year to date last year, it was $391,000. This year, it's $424,000 approximately. So this is year to date. This isn't simply like a fluke. One month we just had a crazy amount of inventory sold or really expensive homes sold. This is year to date for the entire Eagle River area, which with that sizable increase, it's actually an 8.3% increase in the average sold price across the board. We'll talk more about why that is in the summary and what we can expect moving forward. But yes, average sold price way up. The next thing we're going to check out is what's going on as far as the condo market in Eagle River. Now, this isn't a particularly big piece of the market up here, but it is still a developing and a growing sector of the real estate market here in Eagle River, so we're going to check it out anyway. This time last year, there were 17 condos that were on the market. This year, we're seeing it's 7. So we are starting to see a decrease in the inventory for condos in Eagle River. Next thing we need to look at is the number of condos that have actually sold in the market during this time. So what we see for that is that we had 5 condos that sold this time last year. Now it's 9. So proportionally, that's huge. Last but not least, we see the average sold price year to date. Again, it's not simply like 1 month where it just went off and did its own thing and went crazy. No, this is year to date. What we see is the average sold price this time last year was $245,000. This year, it's about $266,000, which, just like on the residential side, that is about an 8.39% increase in the average sold price in Eagle River. And again, we'll talk more about why that is in the summary. Let's take a break from the market update real quick. For those of you who are seeing these numbers and thinking, okay, well, is this a good time for me to be looking at getting your home on the market? And you're just trying to get some information, you're not really wanting to just get bombarded by a ton of stuff by going and registering for some website, do feel free to simply reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to give you a seller guide to just kind of walk you through what the process would look like if you're trying to get your home on the market, and what are some things you can expect with the process. And this is simply a good way to kind of educate you and start training you to get ready and see if this is really something that makes sense for you, because everyone's situation is going to be different, and the answer isn't always just to sell now, sell high, and get out. That's not everybody's situation. So do feel free to reach out to me if that's something you're considering, and I'd be more than happy to send that over to you and let you use it and let it be of service to you. Now, without further ado, let's go and jump into what's going on in the multifamily properties here in Eagle River. Now, the multifamily properties in Eagle River are kind of its own animal. And the reason that I say that is they're in high demand because Eagle River is a low cap rate, which means that once you buy a property here, you're really not going to have a whole lot of drama attached to it with a lot of issues popping up with issues with tenants or other extraneous circumstances or things that come up you can't really account for when you're trying to pencil it out and see if it makes sense. So Eagle River has way less money to be made, like as far as a risk benefit analysis, but what it does have is it has a lot of stability. In other words, I can put money here and I can be confident it's not going to just get destroyed and I'm going to lose my shirt over it. I'm not necessarily going to get rich overnight, but I'm also not going to lose my shirt. It's very stable. That's what a low cap rate means. It means there's less risk, but it also means there's going to be less, opportunity to be making a ton of money. So Eagle River is very desirable as far as investors go for that reason, because it's very stable. But not a whole lot of people wanting to sell their investment multifamily properties here in Eagle River, because this time last year there were 8 properties that were on the market. Now there are 3. So that really does tell you a lot about what investors are thinking right now about their multifamily properties in Eagle River. The next thing that I would point out is the number of properties that have actually sold in this market for multifamily during the past month, where we have all the data for November. This is pretty patchy, just because the multifamily scene in Eagle River is not going to be particularly hopping all the time. It's going to be moving. We're going to see some movement there, because once something pops up, the numbers make sense. Like, I'm jumping on that property and it is gone. But that being said, not a whole lot of them out there, as we see with the previous chart. And what we see is that the number of units that have actually sold for the past month was 2, and the year before there weren't any. So that's about what we would expect though. Last but not least, the average sold price for multifamily properties here in Eagle River has had a pretty drastic increase, to say the least, because the average sold price year to date this time last year was about $393,000. If I recall correctly. Now it's $565,000, which that's over a 45% increase in the average sold price for multifamilies here in Eagle River. So that's huge, and that's a big increase. But before everyone either gets really doomsday or gets too excited, let's keep in mind it is a smaller market over here. And when you have a big property, which there was one that sold for nearly $1.5 million last month and actually closed, that's going to kind of throw things off and give you that really drastic increase there. It just throws the rest of the year off. So we're still seeing a great appreciation. I don't want to take that away, but also it's getting thrown off a little bit by a big property getting sold, because it's not like with residential, where it's residential is residential. You've got anywhere from the little duplex all the way up to the multi-million-dollar deal that's getting thrown in there. So let's go and summarize everything for you real quick. On the residential side, inventory remains pretty low, and that's probably going to remain the case for the foreseeable future until interest rates start going up, which is going to start taking away some of the demand. And that's going to make the sellers who are kind of on the fence right now, and they're not sure if they want to get their home on the market, because they're like, well, I'd love to sell, but also I don't want to be trying to buy in this market right now because it's too competitive. And as soon as they see, hey, demand's starting to go down, it's easier to buy a place, they're probably going to start putting their home on the market. We're starting to see the same thing for condos, and that's really going to be kind of the story here in Eagle River for a while, I believe, as far as condos go. It's going to be kind of following the same story as the residential market, just on a lower scale. On the multifamily, it remains a very great place to be investing. So make sure if that's something that you're considering, you just make sure the property actually pencils out and it actually makes sense, because just because it's a multifamily and Eagle River does not mean necessarily that it's a good deal or something that you should invest in. So I hope this was useful. If it was, again, make sure you give this video a like. And if you have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me either on my website, on Facebook. You can set an appointment with me there. On Instagram, slide into my DM, and I'd be more than happy to talk with you and see how best I can serve you.